Hi there, I'm here to make another fun masterboard today, and I wanted to make something different than I have done before. I'm going to make the back of the masterboard, and I'm going to collage it just like the front of the masterboard, but I want the back to have its own beautiful texture as well. So I'm taking some watercolors I have in some lighter and more muted colors. And I'm just taking a watercolor brush. I'm actually going to use the bigger brush, not the smaller brush. I'm just using that for water, but you can use that if you want. A glue stick and a bunch of book pages from 3 different books and just these little egg trays. So I'm going to put the phone back in the cradle and I'll be right back to show you what I do. All right, first things first, I'm just going to clean up the area, move the supplies out of the way. And also just tell you, this is going to be a little gift for someone in a group. And it's a type of a challenge, but also a swap. So I don't want to mention too much about it, just in case I post this before it happens. So I'm just taking 2 regular book pages, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap them slightly and glue them together with just my Elmer's glue stick. Use whatever you have. I did this last time and it was really cool. I wound up with 8x9. I didn't mean to. I just think that's a nice size to cut up. So it looks like I'm 8.5 by almost 8.5 here. So now I've made myself a square. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever size you want. It depends on how much you want to overlap them and what you want to do. So now I'm going to just take my pieces of book pages and I'm going to randomly rip them up. And again, I have a thing about not liking the corners, so I'm going to try to put them aside. I always try not to think about ripping, and I wind up thinking about ripping. So I'm trying to think of different ways to rip the paper. Maybe I don't do a lot of strips, and I just saw a beautiful collage from someone where they actually didn't even rip it at all. They had cut pieces. So I wonder, why don't I take some of these and do actual cut pieces, because that was really nice. But the whole thing was, so I'm wondering how crazy cut pieces with straight lines will look with pieces without straight lines. So let's cut some like this. Let's cut some fatter. These aside for now. Can always use them later. And then maybe we'll make one more like a square. So we'll do a combination here. So that'll be exciting. That's definitely something I haven't done before. And let's make a triangle-ish out of this. So when I cut that off, it won't be a triangle, but that's okay. All right. I'll do the same thing to these. All right, this one I'll do the cut since I have it out. I'm going to do a big rectangle. No, or 2. I'm going to do longer triangles. And then maybe I'll try for a strip and then smaller. And then cut off the edges there. Maybe it'd be nice if I put my pieces a little closer to you so you can see them. All right, now this one is just going to be a ripper. I like how that frayed up its edge. and I plan to overlap this a little bit more than once, or I'll have to save a lot of it so that I don't waste the pages. I'm actually almost done gutting and using my first book. And that's like a milestone for me, because when I first started using the book for this, I thought, oh my God, am I going to actually use all those book pages? And yes, I did. All right. Now we're going to cut this one. Yeah, that was just such a pretty piece. I have something different planned for the front, and it's going to be more random, but I might now that I'm thinking of it and how beautiful that collage piece was with the these nice straight pieces. Now I'm thinking, I wonder. Inspiration comes from everywhere, and sometimes when you least expect it, and usually when I'm in the middle of doing something like this. So I learned yesterday I can't really cut a circle, so I'll just make that 2 smaller. All right, that is plenty of collage fodder. All right, so I have 2 trains of thought here. What I can do is I can just glue them on and go about with plan A, or I can go with plan B, and I didn't think of what plan B is yet. If you wanted to just use the book pages, if you wanted to distress the edges, or use ink or something like that, that would also be fun, but I'm not gonna do that here. What I am gonna do is take these pages and just shuffle them up. I don't want them in any particular way, shape, or form, and I literally just want to grab them until this is covered once, because it'll make the masterboard just a little bit thicker. All right, so I'm just going to start grabbing, making sure you can see. Just going to start in the middle, and I'm literally going to grab pieces and put them on and try not to think. Maybe some I'll put on straight. Maybe some I'll put on sideways. That's going to be a little difficult if not for the purple here, for me to know if I actually went over a piece or not. So that is going to also be a challenge when you're using all the same colored papers and you didn't define the edges or ink them ahead of time. But maybe next time I'll do that in a different way. I had 3 ideas for this, and then as I started, I got that last one. So, all right, just put this bad boy on this way. You're going here. You're going here. You're going here. You're going here. And then what I always wind up doing is I always wind up feeling that it doesn't look best the way that I look at it and put it on. So when I'm done with this, I'll most likely like it if I turn it upside down or on its side or something like that. I think that helps with the not thinking, because no matter what I say, I am thinking in some way when I put the pieces down, but I don't have enough brain power, so to speak, to know what it's going to look like upside down. So just slapping more pieces on. There's some areas to cover over here. That was easy. And again, you can cover over the cover, but I'm just looking for just a minimum of 1 layer. Maximum, I wouldn't want to go too deeper than 3. It'll make it maybe too hard to cut the masterboard apart. I don't plan on using book pages for the, whatchamacallit. I don't plan on using book pages for the front, unless I wind up with a page that has a partial of a book piece. I still haven't 100% decided what I wanted to do with the front. All right, I have this bottom here to fill up, and I have this corner. I really like doing these because it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. I hope that when I'm looking for a section to cover, I can find a piece that inspires me or somewhat fits in it. So I think, oh, I just got this piece on the bottom. Let's put that there. And then I have like 3 different shades of paper, and I think that also is kind of a little disorienting. You probably won't be able to tell once I make my next step, but I'm just trying to make sure, again, I'm consciously grabbing for something that's not exactly the same as what I had before. And I'm not sure. I do like the combination of the ripped pieces and the straight pieces, but I gotta tell you, I'm not a big fan of the straight pieces. I'm like, keep going back to the fodder to want to cover a lot of that. But it'll all come together in the end. Let me see if there's anything else I want to put down. I have a couple more pieces left. Not a lot of waste, which is really cool. When I started doing this, I was thinking of maybe, I thought I would be making paper all the time. I was really interested in making paper, and I thought that was really fun. And I came across a person who said something to me along the lines of, do you know you can make like rocks out of paper and shapes out of paper, almost like a clay to mold, and I thought that was really interesting, and I don't know why I just thought of it right now, because I really, again, I don't like to waste anything. All right, I just want to make sure those pieces are stuck down. I have a tendency to overglue, and my instinct would be to go totally over this whole thing again. But what I'm going to do over it, I don't think I have to. All right, so that is our first step right here. I'm going to go dry it, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back, and another thing I like about that purple glue stick is when it dries clear, so you can tell when the purple is gone that, you know, you are pretty much dry. I have a little bit here in a thick spot, but for what I'm doing, I'm just going to get it wet again, so I'm not worried about it. And again, here's the other side with just the regular 2 pages, which will be covered up with the official masterboard, but I definitely wanted to try this here. Again, the straight lines are driving me nuts. I think it'll come out different than I anticipated, which is okay, but the inspiration that I followed for the straight lines, which was the change of plans, it was all kind of lines and all like hard angles and shapes. So I think if this bothers you, either go with rip or straight lines or circles. I learned I couldn't cut circles, so anyway. Again, it doesn't matter which way this is faced. I don't remember which end was up and which end was down, because I have the fonts facing all different ways. So I'm just going to leave it this way. And I'm going to take just these colors. If you want to know, this is Sage Green from Arteza. I'm just going to put some in there. And these are all watercolors. This is Ballerina Pink. It's actually a nice fleshy color. And I'm going to take Apricot. There might be a glare on those, so apologies. And I'm going to take Naples yellow. All right, and I just put some in there, and then I am going to take, the only reason why I have this out is because I want to put water in each, and I really want to overwater these, but these paints and me are kind of in a fight, and I haven't really found their true purpose. I originally got them as a gift, and I love all of my gifts, and I want to use them. And sometimes things don't always work out the way that you think they will. I'm just going to dab my brush in water between these. And I usually start from lightest color to darkest color. Again, it won't even really matter with these if there was mixing for what I'm doing. And the water just, it gets so polluted the first time you dip your brush in it. It just kind of makes a new color no matter what you do. I haven't found a solution for that either. So if you're a watercolor painter and you can find a solution for not having like 20 containers, one for each color that you have, please let me know. All right. So I do not remember the person who did the straight line collage. I want to say that it is Dawn, but I'm not 100% sure. I know the person who is inspiring me to do something with the back was Darcy. I watched a video from her last night where she made what she called texture just on a watercolor paper. This isn't really texture per se, but I want to do kind of just a color splash, an interesting color vibe. But I just want to wash it over the page. So again, it's not exactly maybe, you know, and then what she had going on, but just something that she did that inspired me. And I'm just going to blend these together as I do different colors. Just kind of doing them all diagonal right now for no particular reason. The colors that I don't think would blend together, I'm blending together anyway. Okay. What didn't I use? Yellow. Now see, yellow is really greening because I didn't clean my brush. So let me dip in my water, which, funny enough, is a yellow green. But that will change over time. Let's see if I can just get some yellow. Sometimes I switch out my brush. Sometimes I have to, just like I said, get like a new water for every single one I do. So again, this is just to add something interesting to the back. I think I'll just keep going in order. I mean, this in and of itself, like I said, if it was inked or even if it wasn't, I'm just going to go back up here. I have a little bit of extra mixture. All right, that mixture is used up. And I forget what I was saying. So just going to keep slathering here. And I'm almost out of this color. And honestly, that makes me feel really good. I really like to use up what I have and not waste anything. I think that's one of the reasons why junk journaling appealed to me, that aspect of it. All right, I know I've scooched over here a lot, so I'm gonna move it back over. And I'm going to go back in with this yellow here. I have a little puckering here. That's okay. I can glue that back down. I only have one yellow stripe, so I'm going to make the most of it. Okay. And the other thing that could happen if the glue isn't dry, the glue could actually make the watercolor not want to adhere to the paper, and you definitely don't want that. So I think that might what I have going on here. All right. Last but not least, I have green, and I have some streaks up here I don't care for, so I'm going to go there. And the other thing I like about going over a book page is not necessarily me, but like the first thing my husband did when I made something with a book page is he said, well, what does it say? And he tried to read it. And to be honest with you, I've never looked at what these pages say ever. So, all right, there's where we're at. We used it all. I feel really good about that. I'm going to dry this real quick and then I will come back. But here's what it looks like wet. It looks a lot more subtle in camera than it does in person, I'll tell you that. Okay, we are back and the piece is dry. And I've added some friends to the party here, so I'm just going to bring them in real quick. I have a rock. It's like a railroad rock, or I think they call them like paver rocks. They use them to build up the side of the street. I have a cap. And I have a kind of like a parchment colored paint, and then I have a black paint. And I have a white paint on standby. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little texture dimension to this. I do remember that in Darcy's video, she actually had a ball of string that she dipped into her solution and rolled it over. And I thought that was really cool. I don't have a ball of string, but I think it's fun to try different things you have and see what you come up with. So I'm just going to put some just regular acrylic paint down here. And I'm going to start with this color. My tendency would be to do black or black glitter and try to grunge it up and do all these other things, but I am not doing that. I also don't want to water this down too much. I don't want to use a traditional stencil. I want to try something a little different. I have no idea how it's going to go. I have used stamps with acrylic paint before, and what I kind of do is I just kind of spread it out like this, and then I usually put the stamp on it and then put it on the piece of paper, and that worked well. So I'm hoping with my friends here that that will work the same. All right, so I'm going to try to stick the cap into the ink, not ink, into the paint, and see if I can get it on there. Looks like it's just going to be on the top and bottom. All right, I'm going to have to move this off, scooch this over so you can see, and I'm just going to try for a roll and see what happens. All right, so we have track lines. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but let's see if we do another one. It's even less. Another one, it's even less. All right, now let's try to take it. Again, I'm going to put it back in that solution, but I'm going to kind of spin it around. And now I'm going to try to use it as a stamp. And that thicker paint also will raise up and kind of give it a little bit of texture. Not like huge texture like molding paste would or anything like that. So, right, I kind of got a train line running through it, and I have some blobs. All right, now I'm going to try my rock, and I think that for this I might have made the paint too thin, so I'm going to go back to old school way of doing things, and I'm just going to dab it onto the rock and just try to make it juicy enough that it stands on the top. And I'm just going to press the rock down and up. I like that. It's kind of like a, not speckled effect, but it's kind of a cool dotted effect. So let me hold that up and see if you can see. Like over there, that's pretty cool. And that's pretty cool there. All right, I will do it again. It's gonna take the rock. Obviously the parts that are raised are the parts that are stamping, so I can just go over them and know that I'm gonna get a stamp. So I had it diagonally. I think I did. I'm gonna try to do it straight up and down. I'm gonna try to go to areas that are kind of off the edge. All right, so I would normally, if it was me, I would want to go in with the black, I would want to speckle, I would want to try to roll it with other things, but I am not going to. I'm going to dry this, and I will be right back, and let's decide if we want to do anything else or not based on how it dries. But I really like how it looks. And again, I'm not worried about the harsh lines on the papers, even though they drive me a little nuts. And I'm not worried about the harsh line where I made train tracks through it because, again, remember, someone is going to be cutting this when they get it and using it for, it could be so many different things. So the line might, if it's a bookmark and it's cut here, the line could only just be there. If it's such a small piece and it's over here, and maybe it's a back to an ATC, someone might not even know that that's a line. So you never know. And then there's some spaces where there's really not much at all. So I will be right back. Okay, I am almost dry, but I saw two areas where I really want to do more and do it with the cap again. So I'm going to take the paint and I'm going to brush it on the cap like I did with the rock. And I also want to let you know that none of this paint will go to waste. I did what we call base coating the rock. And I'm going to use it for a kindness rock. All right, so I'm just going to take this and try to do that roll. And it looks like only that one part's coming up, so I'm going to roll it back. I just got a light tread line over here coming down and there coming down. And I would like to put something, I think, over here. I used up a lot of the paint with the base coating of the rock, and the paint's kind of building up in this cap really quick, and I didn't paint this second line, so I don't know if I'm going to get that second line or not. All right, so where was my other area? Maybe here. Let me go across this way. Try to put more pressure. Kind of just randomly. Okay, all right. I like that a lot better. And if you were interested, here is my base coated rock for rock painting. And so that'll turn into a kindness rock a little later today. All right, let me dry this and I'll be right back, but I think we're done. All right, so we definitely are done. I'm just gonna bring you in real close and show you what we have going on. I really like how it turned out. Just turn it different ways so you can see. The acrylic paint I used is just Deco Art, actually patio paint outdoor. I got this from a friend, and it actually does have a little bit more of a shine almost to it than I thought it would. I thought like they were really matte, like a chalk paint. I know I have some colors like that and some colors aren't, but again, it's always a surprise. And remember, this is just the back of a masterboard that I'm going to decorate, and that's going to be in my next video because I'm coming up on 30 minutes and I don't want to make it too long. So thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to have you join me to show you what I do with the front. Bye.